I have shared my screen, so please let me know once everyone able to see. I hope everyone able to see my screen.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we have discussed about what is a class, what is an object, what is inheritance concept, what is abstraction. So these are all the Java OOPS concepts, the object-oriented programming system concepts. So today we will discuss about the high level. See, what is inheritance? So inheritance means we are inheriting the child class in Java. Technically speaking, in Java, the child class is inheriting the parent class properties. Okay, that means the properties means the variables methods of the parent class will be accessed by the child class. That is the inheritance concept in Java. So what is abstraction? Abstraction. Just I am recapping yesterday concepts high level. Abstraction is nothing but abstraction means we are hiding the implementation of the methods. Okay, the definition of the methods we are hiding it in the program in the class. So we are just declaring the method with the semicolon. We are not giving the definition with the within the curly braces. That means we are not defining the method. We are just declaring the method in the abstract class. That means abstract class is having
Venkat
only
garu.
abstract. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Who is this? Sorry. Hello. Hello.
Isha, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sirisha, do you have any question?
Hello. Shirisha, am I audible to you? Hello. I think she is in mute. Anyway, she will
Mangala,
come back to us.
Sai, Santosh, Aditya, are you able to hear?
Yes, we are able to.
Okay, you can continue, Venkat.
Yes, I can hear, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So anyway, I will clarify the questions if anyone having later. See, abstraction, as I mentioned, so we are hiding the implementation of the methods in a class. That means an abstract class will have the abstract methods. Where we can have the implementation of those abstract methods means in the child classes, the subclasses. Example, if the parent class is abstract class, it is having the abstract methods. We will define the abstract methods of the parent class in the child classes. That means in the parent class, just we are declaring it with the semicolon. In the child classes, we are giving the implementation for the methods. That is the abstraction, technically speaking. So today I will explain about encapsulation. So encapsulation means, so we are combining the data with the code. Example, when we are writing a class, we are defining the variables and we are defining the methods. So as I showed example, right? One second. As I showed example yesterday in Eclipse IDE, a Java program examples. In a class, I am defining the variables, the integer, string variables, and I am defining the methods like method one, method two, any class, and system.out.println also method only. So we are combining the data and the methods. That means we will access the variables in the same class using the methods. So as I have shown yesterday, after defining the variables in a class and I'm displaying the values using system.out.println. So I'm giving, I will show here also. See here, I'm defining the variables like this, right? And I'm accessing here system.out.println. So that means I'm combining the data with the code. Okay. So that is the encapsulation. That means the definition of the encapsulation is we are hiding. That means we are combining the data with the code, and we are hiding the implementation from the outside world. Example, when when you are steering, riding a car, take an example of automated steering. Okay, the power steering. You know how to operate steering, but we don't know how it is operating, how where it is, how the steering is combined with the power engine and other parts. So we are not bothering about, right? Simply we are using power steering, which is controlling the speed of the car. We are turning the car, so which is combined with the engine also. So that means example, technically encapsulation means we are hiding the implementation of the code. Just we are accessing it. By combining the variables and methods. That means properties and methods. So properties and that means data and methods. We are using it them. We are using the methods, but we are hiding the implementation from the outside world. Okay, I will give the examples for better understanding. Okay, one sec. See here. The meaning of encapsulation is to make sure the sensitive data is hidden from the users. So that means in technically in Java, encapsulation concept we are using to hiding the sensitive data from the other classes. Okay. So how we can achieve this encapsulation in Java? We will declare the variables. That means we can call variables as attributes also in Java. So we can declare class variables or attributes as private. As I explained yesterday, the private, public, protected are the access modifiers, right? So whenever we are declaring a private, that means we are restricting the access. That means why we are restricting encapsulation means we are not we are hiding the implementation of the class. That means whenever you are declaring the variables as private in the class, that means you are restricting the access of the variables from the other classes. Okay, so in the encapsulation concept in Java, here we will declare the variables as private. So how we can access the variables when you declare private? That means we will provide a public get and set methods. I will show the examples. So we will declare the public get method and set methods to access and update the values of private variable. So normally, whenever we give the data type, that means access modifier as private for the variables, that means those variables are restricted to utilize in the same class. Other outside classes can't able to access because within the same class, within that class, the variables are defined as private. That means it is restricted to use for the same class. But we can access using how we can access those private variables means using the public get and set methods. Okay, we will access it. What is get and set methods? The public, we should give public access modifier before get and set methods. Okay, so the get method returns the value of, see, always the get method, right? It will return the value, some value, some variable value. Okay, whatever variable you are accessing, private variable. So you will return, the get method will return the value, the variable value. So set method means it is sets the value. Okay, example, see the below example, public class name. So public is access modifier, class name is person. So in this person class, we have defined a name is a string variable. String is a data type, right? The characters, group of characters. So this string is we are defining as declared as private. That means In the encapsulation, we are defining the variables as private. That means we are restricted the access by giving the private access modifier. How we will access the private variables means using the get and setter methods. What is getter? We will define public get methods. So public string is a data type, get name. That means here I am defining private variable name, which is string type, and I'm getting the name using get method. That means get name. Always remember, in get and set methods, we should give get as a small and first letter of the variable as capital letter. So get is a small and first letter of the variable means name. In name, first letter is n. So always remember, in setter and getter methods, this is the syntax we need to follow. Get name. So first letter of the variable is capital letter. Okay. So public string get name. That means you are getting the name, the private variable, the string variable, private name. You are accessing through get name, public get name of public method. So in encapsulation, as per the definition, the variables will be declared as a private in the class and it will be accessed using the public get and set methods. So here, this is the way we need to define the public methods. Okay. So as I explained yesterday, I'm telling once again, before the method, the data type is string. If it is a void, this method won't return any value, but this is a string data type. This get name method is a string data type. That means it should return some value. That's why it is returning name. That means the name is returning because the get name is a string data type. Okay. So this is how we will define the get methods in the encapsulation to access the private variables. Okay. What is the setter methods? Set method means same way we will define the public access modifier void set name, because setting name, right, it should not return any value. We are just setting the name, initializing with the name, right, with other variable means other parameter. So public void means this set name is a method name. As I mentioned, set and get small letters, and first variable the first letter of the variable is n, name, 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 right? In this first letter is capital N. So set name and get name. Always you need to follow the same syntax. Okay. So public void set name of what you are setting. You are setting the value to the private variable name. That is means using the parameter. That means public void set name, and within the set name method you are passing the parameter. We can call this as an argument also. So this new name is a parameter which is also string type, because name is a string type, right? So we need to set with the same data type value. So new name is a parameter which is a string type passing in the set name method. Then this is a definition. Inside the set name method, this means current object. This class current object. So this is an object actually. So this dot name, that means class variable name, private, right? So this dot name, that means the current class variable, private variable, using the object we are accessing. So as I mentioned in the class, how you will access using object only, right? So this dot name equal to new name. That means new name is a parameter we passed inside the set name method. That means the value. Example, using the keyboard, we need to enter the value new name. That means you are initializing with the private variable. Okay. So this dot name means the current this person class variable name is a private, right? So we are accessing using set name method to initialize with some value. That means this dot This is object, current object of the class. So this dot name equal to new name. So we are initializing with the parameter value. So this is how in the encapsulation we will achieve the we are restricting the access of the private variables from the other classes by defining as a private. We will be access the private variables using the getter and setter methods. Okay. So public class name inside the class person, we are defining a private variable name, okay, as per the encapsulation concept, and we are accessing using get name method, public, but always getters and setters are public. We should not give private and protected. So remember, whenever you are using getter setter methods, the access modifier should be public always. So public, and for get name, always it should not be void. It should be integer or string based on the variable the parameter which you are, that means the private variable which you are defining, right? If you are defining a private int age, that means in this case public int get age. That means based on the private variable data type, we will define the getter and setter methods, not for getter method data type. Okay, name is a string type. That's why for get name also string type. And don't confuse, this is a variable, this is a method. Okay, so always get name is returning some value because the get name data type is string. It is not a void. In this set name, this is a void. That means it is not returning any value. Get name is returning some value, right? Name. But set name is not returning any value. It is only writing the code logic here. Okay. What logic we have written? Using the class current object, this dot name. So we are initializing using the current object. We are initializing the private variable name with the parameter value. New name is a parameter passing inside the set name. So this is how we will define the getter and setter methods in the encapsulation concept to access the private variables. Okay. If you see here, the same, they're explaining the same one. Okay. Definition. If you see here, how we are displaying it, public class main. So this is a just main is a class name. Okay. Inside a class, as I mentioned, execution will start in Java always from the main method. The syntax will be same, public static void main. And inside the main method, always we need to pass string array type of arguments. So this syntax is always same when you are writing a main method inside a class, because the JVM will start the execution from the main method. When you are writing any class, any program in Java, when you are trying to execute it, that time JVM will come to main method first. It will search for the main method in that class. Then all the lines of code inside the main method will be executed. Okay. So in this main method, what is the first line of code? Person. What is a person? Is a class name, right? See, public class name. Class name is person. Okay. So for the person class, we are creating a object. Object name is my object. That means, as I informed, always how we will create a object for the class name space object name equal to new operator and class name. So here, what is a class name? Person is a class name. Okay. So that's why we are giving class name as person. Object name we can give anything. Here we are giving my object equal to new is operator and person is a class name. So this is how we will create object for the person class. Okay. So inside the main method, first line of code is creating a object for the person class. Okay. And then after creating a object for the person class, I'm accessing the private variable. See here, My object is object for the class person. Okay. In the class person, we have defined the private variable, private string name. So we are accessing that one. So as I informed, always we will access the properties and we will call the methods using objects, right? That's why in the main method, first step is we will create the object for the class and then we will access the properties. So that means variables. My object dot name. That means the private variable is name. So I'm accessing the private variable of person class using the object created for that same class. So my object means object of that person class dot name. So what I am doing here, I am initializing with a John. Okay, I'm initializing with a John. It will throw error. I will tell why it is throwing error anyway. So here we are assigning with a John. John is a, why we are giving double quotations means it is a string type of, name is a string, right? We have defined the private variable name as a string data type. That's why we are assigning with the same string value. So always string value should be inside the double quotations. Okay. So, and after initializing with the John value, the for the private variable, we are displaying it using system.out.println method. So in this system.out.println method, we are giving the my object dot name. That means we want to display the John value. Okay, it will also give some error. I will explain why these two lines are will give error if we are writing like this. If the variable was declared as public, we would expect the following output John. That means what they are saying, instead of private, if you give public, this won't give errors. My object dot name. If the name variable is a public, we will easily assign with a string value. We will easily access with the display with the system dot out dot println. When if the variable name is a public, but in this example encapsulation example, the name is a private variable. That means the private variables directly we should not access. How we will access? Using the getter and setter methods. As I explained a few minutes back, always the private variables will be accessed and operated using getter and setter methods. But here we try to access directly. That's why it will give the errors. Okay. Both the lines of code is wrong because we are trying to access the private variables directly without getter and setter methods. That's why when the variable is public, it won't throw error. It will display John as output. Okay. However, as we have tried to access private variable, we get this error. Okay. This kind of errors will give two errors. When you are executing the Java program, this program, it will throw two errors. Okay. Because we are trying to access private variables without public and setter methods. That is a wrong. That's why it is throwing two errors. So instead directly accessing the private variables, we use the getName method and setName methods to access and update the variable. Using getName method, setName method, look at this example, how we are accessing the private variable of name in the person class. So public class main is a class name. It is not a method. Just they are giving the name of the class is main. So public class name is main. Inside the main class, the main method, as we all know, the JVM need to identify the main method, right, to execute the program. That's why we are defining the public static void main method string arguments. That means string array of arguments passing inside the main method. This is the common syntax. So inside that we will write the lines of code which we want to execute for the person class. So the same way we will create the object for the person class. Class name, object name equal to new parameter operator person class name. So once the object created for the person class, using that object, I'm accessing set name method because we already given here, right? Set name, getter and setters. The person class, I have defined the g- getter method and setter method. So getter method always return some value. Setter method initialize the value using the parameter passing in the setter method. So now in this example, after creating an object dot set name. Set name is through the object only we will access the variables and we will call the methods. So here I am calling the set name method. Object dot set name method. This is a method, right? And inside the set name method, we need to pass the a string parameter value. That means for name, I'm initializing the John value, right? So this is how I need to initialize value for a private variable using the set name method. So in this example, in this line, after creating an object dot, through the object I am calling the set method, set name, and set name, see here, set name, public void set name. Inside the set name, what parameter we are passing as argument, string type of new name parameter. That is the reason we need to pass the string value here. Okay. So we are calling the set name method using the object of that person class, and inside the set name I am initializing with the string value. Okay. Set the value of a name variable to John. That means what we are doing in this line, we are setting the value for the name variable as a John because name is a string value. I am initializing with the string value John. Always string value should be double quotations, right? So group of characters is a string. The string value always we need to keep in the double quotations. So I am setting the name value as a John using the set methods. So this is how we need to access the private variables using the getter and setter methods. See here, as we know, directly we should not access without getter setter methods in the encapsulation example because the variable is a private variable. That's why it is throwing errors. So we need to use the getter and setter methods. We need to call the we need to access the private variable. So using getter and setter methods. So here we are setting the value as a name, sorry, John for the name variable, and I am printing. How we are printing? See, I'm using set method here. I'm using get method here. As I mentioned, as we all know, get method will return the value, right? What value it will return? The name value. See here. See, this is a get method. It will return the name value because the method type is data type is string. That's why it is returning the string value. So what is the string value here? John. That means after initializing the name as a with a John value, John string value, how we will display it using the get name method. Okay, system.out.println method. Whatever value we are passing inside the system.out.println, it will print, right? So what value it is printing? My object dot get name, because in Java class we need to access the methods, we need to call the methods, we need to access the variables, and we need to call the methods using object. That's why object dot get name. That's why when you calling this method through the object of the person class, my object dot get name, it will return some name value so that the output of this program is John. Understood, right? Because we already set the name value as a John, and I am accessing means I'm displaying with the get name using the system.out.println. So get name is returning value, right? It will return the name value. The name value is John. That's why the output is John. So I hope everyone understood the encapsulation concept. So if any questions, ask me anytime. See, similar, the same person, a class person having two variables, private variables. Name is a one, age is a one. Age is a integer, name is a string. So same way, in the encapsulation concept, inside the class, we need to define the private variables, okay, and we need to use getter and setter methods to access these private variables. That's why we are defining get name, set name method. Get name method always return value. Set name method, which is initializing with the some parameter value. So this is a current object of the class. This dot name. That means the variable, private variable is name. I'm initializing with the value name, which is a parameter passing inside the set name. So this is how setter methods and getter methods will be used to access the private variables in the encapsulation concept. Same way, when now see here, high level I'll tell. Inside the main method, after creating an object for the person class, I'm initializing with the set name, the value. And if you see here, age is an integer, right? I'm initializing with the numeric value. So name is a string value, variable. That's why I'm initializing with the string value. So based on the data type, we need to initialize the values for the variables, private variables here. The same way, we will use the get methods to access the name and age of the person. Name is a John, age is a 30. So using getter methods, person dot get name, it will print the John value. Person dot get age means it will print the age of the person 30. So that's why output is John 30. Okay. So that means, so as per the definition, we are using the private keyword. We are hiding that means we are restricting the access of the properties of the class from the outside classes through the encapsulation concept. So this is a unbinding the data with the code means the properties and methods are combined right in the inside the class. That means so we are hiding the definition from the outside classes using the private keywords. So this is the encapsulation. So we'll go to the polymorphism concept now. Okay. See, polymorphism, as I have given high level explanation yesterday, polymorphism means it is having a multiple forms within the same class. The same method name will be the same, but it will be having multiple implementations. I will show the examples so that you can understand. So in the inside the polymorphism, we have two types of polymorphisms. One is a static polymorphism, and runtime polymorphism. So static polymorphism means method overloading. Inside the class, one single class, we will define multiple methods with the same name, but with a different parameters. That means arguments we are passing inside each method will be different. I will show the examples. And runtime polymorphism means it is a method overriding. That means it is a inheritance concept. The parent class methods properties will be accessed in the child class using extends keyword. So in the polymorphism, the static polymorphism means method overloading, and dynamic that means runtime polymorphism means method overriding. So these are the polymorphism concepts. So what they are saying in the definition, for example, in English, the verb run has different meaning if you use it. The laptop, foot. So don't confuse with this text. It means English examples and all. Technically, it will be good to understand better. So it is having multiple forms. Polymorphism means having multiple forms with different definitions. That is the definition. If you see here, polymorphism means many forms, so different forms, and it occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. That means method overriding, as I mentioned, right? Two types of polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism means through the inheritance concept, method overriding. So overloading, static polymorphism means overloading. So with the same name of method inside the same class, we'll have different definitions. So we'll have the method name as method 1 for the three methods, method 1, method 1, method 1, the same class. But the definition of the each method 1 is different. That is method overloading. That means polymorphism means many forms. Okay. Like we specified in the previous chapter, inheritance, we have gone through the inheritance, right? The parent class, properties and methods will be accessed in the child class. That is the inheritance concept using the extends keyword. The same way, let us inherit the attributes means properties, the variables, and methods. Methods means functions only, right? So we will inherit the variables and methods from another class using the inheritance concept. That means child class is inherit the parent class variables and methods. Polymorphism uses those methods to perform different tasks. So polymorphism concept will be using those methods. That means, example, overriding, we will, child class will override the parent class methods, right? So inside the polymorphism, we will use it for the different tasks. Tasks means as per the your project assigned to you in your organization. So if it is a banking project, if you are calling payments method, so payments method you will write like a fund transfer. So domestic fund transfer, international fund transfer. So we can transfer the funds within the country. We can transfer the fund outside the country. Example, I am saying. So when the both is a operation is same, we are transferring money from one account to other account. But in the first example, domestic transfers means we are transferring funds within the India only from one person to other person. But international transfers means we are transferring money from India to other country account. Example. So that means the method is fund transfer method, but the implementation, the definition of method domestic is different. The international fund transfer definition is different. So this is how the polymorphism is. The each method will have multiple forms. So that is the main suitable example. So different tasks. As I mentioned, the method it will look like a same method, fund transfer, but it will perform the different tasks, right? Domestic transfer is logic is different. The task is different. The international fund transfer task is different. That's why it is saying it is performing different tasks through the polymorphism concept. Okay. For example, think of a superclass called animal. In this example, animal class name is animal. So animal is a we are considering as superclass. That means parent class. This parent class has called one method animal sound. Okay, that means within the class animal, parent class, animal is a parent class. The parent class is having one method. The method name is animal sound. Okay, and the method is a void method. Void means if any method is void, that method won't return any value, right? Just will have the definition. Only logic, code logic will be there. So this animal sound is a void method which is having a definition system.out.println in the parent class animal. So this is a super class, parent class, all are same only. Okay. So this animal is a parent class which is having animal sound method. And if you come to pig, pig is a class which is a child class because it is extending the parent class. So this is the inheritance concept, right? So parent class is animal, child class is a pig. So inheritance means extends keyword we need to use. Using the extends keyword, the parent class methods will be utilized in the child class pig. That's why inside the child class, we are defining the same method. See here, public void animal sound is a parent class animal method. In the inheritance concept, we are extending the parent class. That means we will inherit the parent class animal method in the child class pig. So public void animal sound, the parent class method, we are defining with a different definition. If you see in the parent class, the definition is animal makes a sound. This is a just example I'm saying. This is a system that we are printing animal makes a sound. But when you are using the inheriting the same method in the child class, the definition will be different. See here, I am printing the pig says wee. That means the animal makes a sound is a parent class definition. The pig says wee is a child class animal sound definition. That means whenever you are inheriting the parent class methods in the child class, we can change the definitions as per our requirement. Okay. So the concept is whenever you are inheriting the parent class methods in the child class, we need to define the same method but with a different logic. The implementation will be different. We are utilizing it in the child class with a different definition. The same way, dog is another child class. That means pig is one child class, dog is another child class for the animal parent class. So that's why dog child class also extending animal. That means the parent class is animal, right? So dog is also one of second child class. So this child class also extending the animal. That means in the dog also inheriting the animal properties and methods. So that is why inside the class dog also the method of the parent class animal, the method is animal sound. Same method we are defining once again here, but with a different definition. The dog says bow bow. That means if you see here, the child class, first child class is pig, second child class is dog. The both the child classes, we are inheriting the parent class animal method and we are giving different definitions. Child class pig have some definition. Child class dog has some other definition. Okay. So remember this extends keyword we are using to inherit a class, parent class. Okay. Now we can create a, so they are explaining the same thing. Okay. That means we are defining a parent class and we are defining two child classes, pig and dog, and we are using the extend keyword. We are inheriting the parent class. And whenever you are inheriting the parent class, any class, the methods of the same parent class we will implement in the child classes also with a different definitions. So the main is another class where you have the public static void main method because the JVM will come to main method to execute the program. So inside the main method, in the main method, public static void main method, what we are doing, animal is a one class. Okay, animal is a one class, parent class, pig is one child class, dog is another child class. So what we are doing here, we are creating objects for all the three classes. So animal is a parent class. The class name, object name equal to new animal. That means we are creating object for the animal parent class. And animal is a parent class. My pig is a one object, new pig. That means this is a child class. This is also one of the way to create the object in the inheritance concept. The meaning is after the new operator, the class will be there, right? So whatever class we are defining after the new, the object belongs to that class. Here, animal class name, object name equal to new animal. That means we are creating my animal object for the animal class because after new parameter, whatever class we are declaring, object belongs to that class. So here also, animal is a super class. Class name, object equal to new child class name. So in the inheritance concept, we will create the objects like this. with the parent class reference, we are giving object with the parent class reference equal to new and child class name. That means my pig is a pig child class object. The same way, the object reference will be parent class, but we are creating for the child class dog, because after new parameter, whatever class we are declaring, the object belongs to that class. So my pig is belongs to pig class. My dog object is belongs to dog child class. Okay. So in this main method, we created three objects. One is for the parent class. Second one, my pig is a first child class object. My dog is a second child class object dog. So after creating three objects for the three classes, we are accessing the methods. What methods we are accessing? If you see here, animal is a parent class, which is having a animal sound method, which is having one definition. Animal makes a sound. This is the definition of animal sound method inside the animal. The same way, the child class pig, which is having the same method with a different definition. The same way, public class dog is another child class, which is having the same method. Why we are having same method? We are inheriting the parent class using extends keyword. That means uh, after inheriting the parent class, the parent class method we can use in the child class, but we can give different definition. That's why in the both child classes, we are defining the same method with a different logic. So in the three parent class and two child classes, we have the same method but with different definitions. So here, after creating the objects for these three classes inside the main method, because JVM will come to main method to start execution of the program, right? So first line, JVM will come to first line of code inside the main. It will create the animal parent class object. It will create second, it will come to next line. It will create child class pig object. It will create, if it will come to third line, it will create the child class dog object. So after creating objects, what we will do in Java, after creating object for the class, we will access the corresponding class methods using those objects. So my animal is a object for the parent class animal. That's why I'm using my animal object dot animal sound. See, the parent class object, I'm calling the method of the parent class. If you see here, the parent class, which is having animal sound method. So here it will call this method. Object, my animal is object dot animal sound. So JVM will trigger this line of code. Then it will come to this method, and in this method will have what logic? It is asking to print this value. System.out.println is a method which is asking to print the animal makes sound value. Okay, that's why when you are calling parent class object dot parent class method, what it will print, this one, animal makes a sound. This is the first outcome of the program. The second, my pig dot animal sound. That means the second, first child object is my pig for the pig class. That means the using this object, we are calling the animal sound of the pig class. So pig is a class here, which is having an animal sound method. When you are calling this method, it will print the pig says view. That means here it will print the child class pig animal sound the value. Okay, and when you come to this line of code, this is a my dog is a child object, child class object for the dog. That means object dot animal sound. So dog class object created, and we are calling using this object animal sound method of dog class. That means child the class dog, which is having the animal sound method. When you are calling it, what it will do, the control will come here. So JVM will call that method, then it will come here. in this, the definition of this method is we are asking to print the dog says bow bow. So it will print dog says bow bow as an outcome. So first, these three lines, after executing three lines, the output will be, first will be animal makes sound, and second will be the pig says we view, and third one or third output will be the dog says bow bow. So this is how the inheritance, sorry, the polymorphism concept. That means the method overriding concept. Okay. So that means the method will be same, but it is having different definitions we are inheriting in the child classes. That means, so polymorphism, this is a method overriding. That means runtime polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism means we are using the inheritance concept. That's why we are defining the parent class and we are defining the child classes. So child classes is extending, that means inheriting the parent class. The same parent class method will be inherited in the child classes and we will give the different definitions. That is called runtime polymorphism. That is method overriding. Okay. So the same way, I will explain the overloading concept also. Okay. What is a method? Overloading. The same method. See, if you see here, these are all overriding concepts only. Okay. Same definitions are same. Don't worry about that. As I mentioned, static polymorphism means compile time polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism means this method overriding. Static means compile time polymorphism. That is method overloading. Okay. Compile time polymorphism in Java. That means method overloading means it is also known as static polymorphism. That's why I mentioned static polymorphism. So compile time polymorphism, static polymorphism, method overloading, all are same. So method overloading is a mechanism used inside the compile time polymorphism, which is static polymorphism. So this type of polymorphism is achieved by function overloading. See here, this static polymorphism, which is a compile time polymorphism, which is achieved by the overloading concept. Okay, the operator is overloading. What is overloading? We will see here. See here, Java does not support the operator overloading. Okay, overloading concept is not supported by Java, but don't worry about this. This is operator they're saying. So what is overloading? We'll see here. Test is a class. Consider test is a one class. So inside the class, we have three methods. That means void fun, void fun, void fun. That means the method name is same. Fun function, 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 which is a data type is void void. Void means for any method, the void means that method won't return any value. It will have only definition. So in this overloading class test, we have three methods. Fun, void fun method, which is having the parameter as int a. That means this void fun of int a parameter will have some definition. Void fun of int a and int b. That means the second method, the method name is same, but if you see, we passed two different parameters. That means this definition will be different based on the different task of your project. So the same third one, the method name is same, but we passed a different parameter, character. If you see int a in the first method, it is integer. In the third method, it is a character. That means it is performing some different tasks. That means in the overloading example, what is the definition is within the same test class, we have different methods with the same method name. Function fun is a method name, right? For the three methods, the method name will be same. Fun, fun, fun function. But the parameters passing inside the fun method will be different. First fun method is integer a. Second fun method is integer a, comma integer b. Third fun method is character a. That means the same class will have multiple functions, multiple forms. The function name is, the method name is same, but with different forms, different functions. That's called overloading. So that means polymorphism means it is have multiple forms, right? The same method will have multiple forms. So function method will be same here, but the functionality of each function method is different of multiple forms. That is called method overloading. Okay. Overriding means base is a parent class. Consider base is a parent class which is having function which is having integer a as a parameter. So this is parent class. So when you have derived is a child class, so that means we are inheriting the base parent class. The derived class is inheriting the base the parent class. That means the function, the base parent class is having void function which is having int a as a parameter. When derived child class is inheriting the base class, the same function will be used in the derived class. The arguments also same. The parameter also same. That is called overriding. Okay. That means void fun int a is a base class method. When your child class derived in inheriting the same method, the method name and argument is same, but we can define different logic also. Okay. That means overloading it is having the same function multiple times with the different definitions. And the overriding means we are overriding the parent class and the child class. The method name and arguments will be same, but we can have different definition as per the task. So polymorphism means as per the naming convention, as per the definition, it is each the polymorphism concept will have same method with multiple forms. Okay. So method overloading same way. When there are multiple functions within the same name but different parameters, this example, same fun function name is same, but int a comma int b character a are different functions, right? Different parameters. Inside the method, whenever you are passing parameters like int a comma int b character a, whatever parameter you are passing, any method, those called parameters. Okay, but different parameters. Then these functions are said to be overloaded. So overloaded means within the same class having the same function with different parameters, that will be called overloaded. Functions can be overloaded by changes in number of arguments. So how it is overloading? Using the different types of arguments, different number of arguments also. In the second method we passed two parameters. In the first function we passed only one parameter but it is integer. In the third function we have passed one parameter but it is a character. That means the same function will have multiple forms. That means different data types and different number of arguments also. That is called overloaded. So functions can be overloaded by changes in the number of arguments or and a change in the type of arguments. Type means first one is integer, third one is character. That is change in the data type. And number of arguments means first method is having one argument. That means parameter integer a. But second function having two parameters integer a comma integer b. That's why they are saying there is a changes in the number of arguments and type of arguments. That is called overloading. So example, see, look at this example. Helper class name is helper. Okay. So the class this in this class, static is a keyword. I didn't tell about static, but I will tell anyway. Static, if you are giving static keyword before any method in a Java class. So class is a helper. This class name is a helper. Inside the helper class, I am defining a method. Multiply is a method name which is having two parameters int a comma int b, and static is a keyword. So whenever before a method giving static means you no need to create an object for this class to access this multiply. Directly you can call this method in this class. I will tell in a few minutes. Okay, static method. This multiply method is a static method, which is data type is integer. So before a method, if the data type is integer other than void, so if it is integer or string anything other than void, it should return some value, right? So multiply method is an integer type. That's why it is returning the integer number. So returning integer number means a into b. That means in this method we are passing two parameters a comma b. The logic we are returning here is multiply. This is a multiply method, right? So we are multiply a to b. So the first parameter into second parameter. So that value we are returning here in this method because the data type is integer. The returns product of integer numbers. The method 2, the same helper class, we have another method, static double multiply. So same. See, if you see, the method name is same, multiply, but the parameter types are different. Int a, int b first method. In the second method, double a, double b. It is a different data type, right? So as per the overloading concept, within the same class, you have the same method name will be same, but different type of parameters. So multiply is the same method, but with double type of parameter here. Here integer type of parameters. That's why this this is called overloading concept. Okay, the same method we have multiple forms. So in this multiply, we are multiplying the double a value into double b value. So multiplication of a into b, which is a double type. So returning the a into b in this multiply method, it will return the double value. Okay. If you see here, class, inside the class, the public static void main. So we will write the lines of code which we want to execute inside the main method. So I'm printing system.out.println. Using system.out.println, I am printing helper.multiply. See here, this is very important, guys. Static multiply method inside the helper class is a static type. The same way, second method, multiply method with the different data types, that also static. As I mentioned, when any method is a static in a Java class, for that method, no need to create an object. Otherwise, what we used to do normally, we will come to the main method and we will create the object for the class first. But we haven't created object here. Why we haven't created object means, normally for helper class, we should create object here. But we are not creating inside the main method. Why means, whenever we are declaring the methods as a static methods in any class, we can access those methods without creating object. Okay, that's why we haven't created any objects to access the static methods. So directly we are accessing helper. What is helper? How we will access without creating object means, whenever the methods are static methods inside a class, here the class is helper. We will access those static methods using the class name. Okay, so normally if it is not a static, these are non-static means you won't have static keyword. Directly you will have int multiply, public int multiply, public double multiply, something like that. In that case, we need to create object for the class. Helper object name equal to new helper. Then object will be created. Then we will access the multiply. We will call the multiply method using the object dot multiply. But here, no need to create object because these two methods are static methods. So whenever, this is very important in Java, this is interview question also. They will ask how you will access static methods in Java class. So in any Java class, if the methods are static, we should not create objects. Directly we can call using the class name. Okay, that's why we are calling class name dot multiply. So and if you see here, class name dot multiply means we are calling multiply method, but we have two multiply methods here. First multiply method, which is having integer int a comma int b. Second multiply method double a comma double b. Which method will call here? Which method will call here? It will call based on the parameter values you are passing. See here, in the multiply method, inside the multiply method, you are passing two integers. That means you are passing the integer values. That means the method which is having integer parameters, this method will call. Okay, because you are passing the integers. So system.out.println helper.multiply means using the class name you are calling the multiply method which is having integers. That means this method will call static int multiply int a comma int b. A value is 2, b value is 4. Because int a comma int b means first parameter value is 2, a value is 2, b value is 4. Okay, this method will call. If you come to next line, system.out.println helper.multiply. So class name dot multiply, because this multiply method, second multiply method also static method. No need to create an object to call the method. Directly using class name, we are class name dot multiply. Which method will call? We are passing float double number. 5.5 is a double number. 6.3 is a double number. Double, its value is double type. So double a comma double b. So this method is having double parameters, right? Then it will call this method. So a value, b value means first value is 5.5 is a value, b value is 6.3. So based on the parameter values you are passing when you are calling a method, it will call the corresponding method. Okay, this is called overloading. See here, why they are calling compile time polymorphism means JVM is here compiling the program. JVM is coming to main method and executing each, compiling first each and then executing, right? So here in this line, when JVM is compiling it, so it will, the control will go to this method, where this method. That means during the compile time only, it is identifying which method to call. That's why this is called compile time polymorphism. Okay, it is not runtime polymorphism. Runtime is a method overriding. That is, it will decide during the runtime while executing the runtime. But here, before running the program, when the program is compiling, so it is identifying which method to call. That's why this is called compile time polymorphism. Okay, it is decided which method to call while the compiling the program. That's why we call compile time polymorphism, which is a method overloading. It means the same method we have multiple forms. If you see here, 2 into 4, 8. 8 is output. Double type 5.5 into 6.3 means 34.65. So this is how the polymorphism, static polymorphism means method overloading will work. Okay. So we have seen two types, overrider, method overriding and method overloading. Method overriding is a runtime polymorphism. Method overloading is a static, which is compile time polymorphism. I hope everyone understood this polymorphism concept now. This is very important concept actually. Okay. These are all same definitions. If you see here, overriding class parent. So class name is parent. So in this parent class, we have one method, void print method. So void print method having definition. What definition? System.out.println of parent class. That means which is having a code logic inside the print method. So parent class is having print method with some definition. So sub class subclass one. That means this is a child class. Why I'm calling child class? Because it is extending the parent class. So class subclass one is a child class name which is extending the parent class. So when child class extending parent class means we are inheriting the parent class. When you are inheriting the parent class method will be utilized in the child class. So we are defining the same method. What print method? Void print method in the child subclass 1 we are defining again, and we are giving a different definition. The method name will be same, but we can give different definition. So here we have given the definition as parent class. We are printing parent class. Here in the child class, when we use the same method using the inheritance concept, then we are printing the subclass 1. Okay, this is a overriding. Overriding is an inheritance concept, right? That means polymorphism overriding means we are we are using the same method but with the multiple forms, so multiple definitions. Overriding, why we are calling, we are using the inheritance concept here. That means we are overriding the parent class method in the child class. That is called runtime polymorphism. That is method overriding. Okay. And also, please practice in Eclipse IDE. So as I mentioned, right? So please, I hope everyone installed in your computers. If not installed yet, please start installing JDK and Eclipse IDE, because theoretically when we are preparing, no use. We need to understand the concept theoretically, but it is mandatory to practice it. Okay, always go to Eclipse, create some test classes. So inside the package, create one class like this. Okay, test 4. I am giving class name as test 4. Okay, class 4, test 4. Just we can give here, as I mentioned, right? Simply I am giving to understand here, void method 1. Okay, int a comma int b. Okay, so after method we should give parenthesis, otherwise it is the abstract method. So when you are giving definition, it is not abstract. So see here, I am writing one method, method 1 int a. So this is a overloading I am explaining how to write. So it is it's mandatory to practice in Eclipse, otherwise we won't understand. And while interview also, interviewer will ask you to write the logic. They will ask you, so please write a small example for the overloading. First they will ask you what is overloading, what is comparative polymorphism. Then they will ask to write the small program. So if you are not practicing, then it's very difficult, right? So please practice daily at least 1 hour. Okay, then only you can able to have hands-on experience, because for getting a job, right, it is mandatory. So method 1 WA and WB, return WA. So I'm giving double here. Okay, there is no error here, see here. So inside this, so first step is what we need to do. These are not static methods. That's why we need to create an object. Okay, object obj1 or obj also okay. New test 4. So we are creating object first, and then obj dot method 1. As I mentioned, what method it will call? We have two methods, method 1, method 1. But what method it will call? Based on the value you are passing. If I am passing 5 integer, if I am passing 10. So both are integers, right? That means if you see here, I will give two types, obj dot method 1 double type. That means 2.5 double type. I'll give 3.5. That means what I am doing here, this is a compile time polymorphism method overloading. What I have done, I have created a class test4. In the class test4, I have defined two methods. Method 1, method 1. The method name is same, but I have passed two different parameters, int a, int b. Why it is returning value? Because the method type is integer. So whenever the method type is other than void, we need to return some value. That method will return some value. So this method type is integer. That's why we are returning some value. What my value I am returning? I am multiplying integer a into integer b, and I am returning the value. This is the logic I have written inside the method 1, which is the integer type. I have defined same method, similar method, but with the different parameters, double a, double b. So which is a double type. So I'm returning double type of value. I'm multiplying a into b, which is a double. So we are returning the double value. So here, after defining two methods in a class, the same class, two methods with the same name, but with different parameters. That is called overloading. So when you come to public static void main method, the JVM will come to first to execute this program. Then it will create an object for this class. Obj will be created for the test4 because class name is test4. After new also test4 will be there. That's why this object is created for the test4 class. And then after creating object, we are calling the methods. What method you are calling? How you will call always after creating object? Object dot method name. Object dot method name. So object dot method name, which we have same methods. Which method it will call? It is called the methods based on the value passing inside the as arguments, right? Argument value. So when you are calling any method, when you are passing the values, it will decides which method to call. Here I am passing two integers, two parameter values I am passing. Then the JVM will compile this and it will identify the integer method one should call. That's why it is called compile time polymorphism. So the flow, the control will flow will go here, JVM will go here and it will execute. Then it will print return A into B. That means 5 into 10, 50. The output should be 50. Then JVM will come to second line of code, means next line. So object dot method one. So method one, we have two method one. What method will it will call means based on the parameter value, double parameter I have given. So it will come to double type of method. So it will return A into B double value. So when I am executing this program, right click on this, run as Java, execute it. Okay, 1 second. We should close this, we should close this. Okay. It is going the flow to this program. 1 second. So examples. test 4, object 5, new test 4. So this one, test 4. String 5, test 4 is called. I'm giving only. This is some program is correct only, but some structure wise some problem here. Okay. Normally, what how we will define a class? We will define inside the class. We need to make sure it is closing the curly brace and open brace. We have closed it. Okay. And also this is overloading, right? Overloading means the same class have different parameters, and then we have written the main method, the logic. See here. So this method I'm calling.
There is methods.
Sorry.
Methods.
Methods are same, right?
Where
See, normally, see, I'm defining the methods here. Okay, I'm calling from other methods. So normally it should execute here itself.
then you need to
Sorry.
extend that test
No,
for.
that is a overriding concept. See, normally I agree with you, but example, if I give like this, extends test 4, it will execute anyway. But I want to show the overloading concept. Okay, here I'm extending test 4 and I'm calling the method of method 1 inside the test 4. Errors in workspace. Errors exist in the required projects. So some structure wise have a problem only. Program wise there is no problem. Only structure wise some problem. That's why we are not able to link it. Okay.
I will
But
continue
anyway,
tomorrow. Please.
yeah, I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will continue tomorrow. The program wise there is no issue. Only the structure wise it is saying some problem is there. I will look into it. I will show what I will do, right? Tomorrow I will execute all the programs for all these OOPS concepts so that everyone will able to practice it, because it's very important to practice. Okay, all these inheritance concept, abstraction, polymorphism, and encapsulation. I will show the first half an hour tomorrow with the examples how to practice. Then everyone can practice. Okay. I
Sure.
hope everyone understood today's concept. Thank you all. Thanks, Venkat.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Yeah. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.